How you doing, family? Welcome to another BANTU-Morpheus video. This video, I'm going to primarily focus on two things. More validation for two things, both the anatomy of existence, which encompasses and is built around the concept that we are micro gods or micro beings having a human experience. Okay, this video is just another one to validate those realities, because that's what we are. And I've done some reading, and I touched on a couple of books here I'm gonna bring to your attention, that I recently read that further validates, again, everything that I've talked about in the last 30 movies that I've done. But today I want to bring your attention to Eckhart Tolle, as well as Erin Wesley, who wrote a book, female Erin Wesley, who wrote a book about her experience with talking to functioning more out of and identifying out of her micro intuitive and a micro God self, or her self-actualized self, and the micro God that she is, and from that perspective, okay, as her micro God that she is. And she does a beautiful job of validating everything that I've already talked about in the last 30 movies, which codifies the idea that we are all micro aspects of God having a human experience by choice, because that's what the macro God, or Ama, has decided that it wanted, and it wanted it billions and trillions of years ago, and so it is. And what we are doing now is acting out, or processing, or actually living as micro gods, because that is what Ama and the universal force wanted, and that's what we will do. It's not a choice. This is what we are doing. And my job is to explain this to you so we can remove the fear of the religions and all of the matrix of lies and confusion and or outright ignorance that they have been promoting, because they don't know any better. They are basically created by dumb brutes whose primary mission was to dominate and control the entire societies of the world, and to control the access to all the resources of the world. And the most important resource of the world are people, human beings, okay? So my mission is to awaken as many people as possible, as many human beings as possible, regardless of race, culture, because we are all human beings fulfilling the one universal purpose, and that is evolution. Okay, and evolution is another word for change, and change is the order that we all were given by Ama, and that's why we are acting out Ama's will. And Ama has blessed each and every one of us with the powers and authority to conduct our lives in whatever way we are, what the word I would say, compelled, through our intuitive intelligence of our micro being. Our micro being is controlled by the intuitive intelligence that runs the micro metaphysical being that we are. Okay? And to further validate that, I want to make a distinction, or not validate, but I want to first, before I get into the validation of this truth and these laws, I want to bring your attention to the difference between the human beings as opposed to all of the other animated beings like fish, dolphins, and the like, okay? Even insects and viruses. The difference between them and us is we, through our intuitive intelligence, we can choose to visualize a future for ourselves and remember a past and learn from our past and our past mistakes. This is codified in the fact that we write things down and we create statues and monuments to document our accomplishments. That is the purpose of writing and monuments and art and all of these kind of records of what we have done. Anytime we create even a building, anytime which is nothing more than a habitat or for our environment, a place where we live. And every time we do that, we are demonstrating our sophistication as intuitively intelligent beings throughout the rest of the universe to all the other intuitive intelligent beings in the universe. And when we do this, it draws a clear distinction between us and the other animated beings that we call animals. They are spiritual beings, and the spirit, the universal macro spirit, is in them as well and is them as well. But it is the intuitive intelligence that distinguishes us from them. Okay? And that is evidenced by what we have created, both in written history and physical structures that we have built over the millions of years and evolved to build and create over the millions of years. Now, we have to factor in, when we start talking about human beings, even the human form, okay? The human being is comprised of, as I have said in the past, a spiritual micro being or God that has been incarnated, which is being put into flesh by the rules of the universe that the universal force Amma has set up billions of years ago. And whatever Amma has set up stays in motion. And so it has been for millions of years that our intuitive, intelligent, spiritual being has been reincarnated into these human flesh forms that we call a body or a human, okay? Now, the human is also gifted with an intelligence, but that intelligence is instinctive. And as an instinctive intelligence, it does not have the ability to, it does have the ability to remember anything from the past that threatens it, because it is strictly a purely fight or flight dumb brute intelligence. Now, when I say dumb brute, I don't mean that it is not worthy of respect or consideration. It is, we respect and consider it like we would respect and consider all other living beings, that we all share this beautiful human, this experience that we are having, that we as micro beings, as far as we know right now, could not experience this physical time-space continuum if we were not in this human form. So we have to respect this human form and treat it, as many other great thinkers in the past have said, as a temple. And a temple is something that we have, over time, culturally, human beings have agreed that temples are places of honor and places of sacredness, and you should treat it special. In other words, certain things behaviors you don't do in temples. If you are of the higher intelligences, of the higher societies in the world, you have these rules and structures of your social behavior that allows you to agree to have rules on the ways that you're going to conduct and behave in certain environments, in certain buildings, in certain structures. We have decided that we are going to create a structure where we all will agree in order to have a harmonious, happy, and joyful, and ordered and structured life. We're going to set up these laws and these rules that we're going to all work. We don't absolutely go by them, but we all work to get better at abiding by these rules so we can maintain the order in the world. Okay, first it starts in the family, then it goes into the community, then it goes into your state, then it goes into your county, then it goes into your country, then it goes into your continent, then it goes into the world, the international community. Okay, these are the structures. So what I want to bring to your attention about this particular aspect, I just wanted to bring that information to you as a reminder so that we'll understand the difference in the between the regular animated beings and us as spiritual microcosmic, intuitively intelligent animated beings. We are animated beings as well, but we're on a much, much higher level. We have an intuitive intelligence that allows us to visualize a future. And that ability right there distinguishes us from the other animated beings. And you can tell because the other animated beings, they do not build structures on the level that we do. They do not write and create documents. Now we're in a digital world, but they did not, you have no evidence of any animated being, a tiger, a lion, a gorilla, or you name it, elephant, dolphin, whales. They don't write, at least in a way that we can see evidence of them having documented their accomplishments and the evolution of their species over millions and hundreds of thousands of years. There is no evidence of that. And I strictly go by evidence. That's how I maintain my decisions on what I'm going to believe, is I have to have evidence, and it's got to be cross-analytical analysis and documented and otherwise evidence. It can be intuitive evidence, but it has to be from a cross-section of people that don't know each other. And that's what I'm doing with these books that I'm going to present to you today. And it'll be basically, I've already introduced you to Charles Haanel and his master key system. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I want to first go over these aspects of our intuitive intelligence and draw that exchange, that first difference between the animated beings and us as the micro gods that we are. Okay. And I want to talk to you also about the fact that another key difference about the animated beings is they don't have a choice. They are organically placed with a mindset that, and an instinctive intelligence that keeps them planted in right now. They may remember if they see you, and you have done something in the past, then they will remember that what you have done to them. And when they do sleep, they do dream, because they are They are spiritual beings. So when they leave their human form, they come into the metaphysical world. And you can see it with dogs and cats and any animal that sleep. You'll see their body jumping because they are spiritual beings. And all of us, all spiritual beings, when the body is resting, every body, every form, not a human, every form needs to rest because every form is finite. It has a shelf life where it will only last for a period of seconds. If you're a tsetse fly, a week, days, it depends on what animated form you're in, you have a shelf life. Only will last so long. Some turtles last for 200-300 years. That form of animated being has a really long shelf life, longer than even a human being's. Some turtles and some lizards and some other animated beings have those forms have very long shelf lives. Okay, but anyway, the point is all of them are always stuck in the now. As far as we know, they have no memory of their past and they don't project a future, because if they did, they would write it down somewhere. They would show some kind of documented evidence of it. Okay, so that's why I come to believe and accept this awareness, or this idea, this concept came to me when I was doing my meditations in the morning. And this distinction between the two animals I found to be very fascinating, to realize that we are so deep that we can look to a future, visualize a future for ourselves, and remember a past, and also function in the right now. And Eckhart Tolle teaches beautifully about that. And that's why I brought him to your attention, because he primarily focuses on helping us to identify with our microcosmic self, what he calls our essential self, which is absolutely true. This human form that I'm in is important, but because it's finite, it is not essential. Essential means you need it to exist. I need it only to function on this time-space continuum, where this form is connected to family. This form is connected to a cultural group. This form is connected to even an ethnicity, be it African, European, Indian, Native American, as they call them, which is nothing but Eskimos combined with Africans. That's what they are. That's what they evolved into, these that we call Native Americans, but there's nothing native about them. They are not Native Americans. So native people here in America are African people, okay? And that's just, Africans came here long before the Eskimos came out of the ice caves of the Caucasus Mountains. They came with them, okay? So we are the original people here, okay? Okay, the other thing I want to bring to your attention is that, so with that ethnicity of each human form, okay, it was created after the original, or a group of Africans, because the African form had already fragmented or evolved or transformed through the evolutionary process based on the environment that they were in. If the food was high, then they began to grow taller. If the food was wetter, then they began to have different types of skin and whatnot to be able to deal with that particular environment. But long story short, the first humans were these pygmy, or they called them pygmies, but very short-statured people. All right, so all of the humans on the planet, all the human forms came out of those short-statured original human forms. Okay, so therefore, through our human forms, we are all brothers and sisters. It's just that the Eurasians who were Africans and got caught in a glacial ice age were transformed over 100,000 years into what you see now. And we call them Eskimos, we call them Chinese, Koreans, Japanese. These are the Mongoloid, slant-eye Asians. Then you have the Europeanized Asians, because they all come from the continent of Asia, and they have politically divided themselves up into calling themselves Italians, Germans, Polish, this, that, English, Swiss, Australian. Australian actually is an African colony, a place where Africans had already went, but they migrated out of Asia and went and attacked the people throughout all of the other world. And that's a whole nother, I've already done videos on that. And this is not about bad or good. This is about this is what has happened, okay? The point I want to get to is this power of us being able to visualize a future for ourselves and what we want for ourselves. This is the most important thing that I want to bring to your attention so that you will focus like a laser beam on this as a power and a tool that you can use now to improve your life and change what you don't like about your lifestyle or your life, okay? And to validate this point, I stumbled onto another book, and I'm gonna share with you what Eckhart Tolle has talked about, the law of attraction. And he validates in his description of how we can change our environment and create whatever we want in our environment through using the law of attraction. And he talks about it, and it's brilliant to me because it further validates what I've always said, what Rhonda Burns has said in her book, The Secret, and now Neville Goddard, what Neville Goddard said in his book, Feelings is the Secret, okay? And I talked to you about that book, and I'll slap a picture of that up here so you can see that as a reminder for those of you who may not have watched that video that I've done in the past where I talk about Neville Goddard and the phenomenal breakdown that he has, the way he described how he applies the law of attraction. Okay, so now I have another person here. This is Eckhart Tolle. He's describing to you the law of attraction. And because it is a universal law, and it is an immutable law, because it is a power that we all have, okay? And you can't give it away because it's working autopilot. It's working on autopilot. It's working automatically. So you're better off learning how to master it rather than being punished by it through your ignorance of it. And that's what I want you to learn to be able to do, is master something that you cannot get rid of, that is attached to you like an umbilical cord, okay, that is working 24/7. Okay, so this is why we have to learn to control our mind space that the thoughts are going through. We have to become better thought police, because every repeated thought is changing something or attracting something into our environment, whether we know it or not. Okay, so you have to control your emotions and you have to control your thoughts. And the better you get at this, the better your life is going to be. You'll have all the wealth you want. It'll even be able to impact your health to maybe a lesser extent. Okay, because if you have if you're predisposed to genetic weaknesses that are a part of your form that you are born into, you know, once you know what you are, that you're an immortal spiritual being that can't die, you accept that these are these flaws of the human form, but you don't take it personal because you're not the human form. Your human form is something you're riding around in like a car. And it's not about good or bad. It's about just what it is. Find out what it is and make the best of it. See, that's the paradigm shift that I'm trying to help as many people as I can change into, so that you can take charge of your life and guarantee or create a higher likelihood that you will masterfully control every aspect of your life. Because if you got to live here, let's play to win. If you got to be in this body and you can't get out of it, let's play to win. Okay? Let's have the best life experience, life cycle that we can get out of this one. But the good news is the life cycles are infinite. They will never end. Just because the cycle was set up by an infinite being that never ends. We are microcosmic expressions of that same, we are fingers of that same macro being that never ends. So we never end. We will always be. This intuitive intelligence that I am, that must be awakened with each incarnation, will always be. Will always be. Every awakening, another word for awakening is to be reminded of what you are, because you were born already what you are. You just have to be reminded so that you can pick back up where you ain't gonna pick back up where you left off. You will, but it is more of an organic learning process when you're on a metaphysical, spiritual level. It is an organic learning process, I say, because you will begin to remember certain things and levels of knowledge and wisdom. You'll be born with that. You just have to be, it has to be awakened in you so that you can remember what you are. And the rest will come automatic, because a lot of this stuff is automatic. It's on autopilot. Okay, so I'm going to share screen with you, and I want you to see Eckhart Tolle and listen to how he articulates the process of applying the law of attraction. Here we go. And the other thing I want to bring to your attention is that I want you to notice something here. Before I show you Eckhart, I want to show you something else, because I had talked about how, different people will come into your life and they will have markers. They will have indicators to let you know that they're spiritual people, that you really, that let you know you're on track with who you need to be talking and socializing with. This is fascinating. I was watching another guy that I deal with, my stock investing, and okay, right there, that's what I wanted you to see. Okay, so what I wanted to do here is show you the symbol, which is called the infinite symbol, that a lot of Christians, they have it on their thing to try to symbolize that there's some righteous religion. And so they take bits and pieces of real righteousness and they try to stick it on themselves to pretend that they really are some kind of spiritual righteous group, and trying to actually lead people into self-actualization, which they absolutely do not do, because the doctrine of Christianity tells you that you can't do nothing for yourself unless you believe in Jesus Christ and accept Jesus Christ as your only Savior. Nobody else is righteous or gonna get into the fake place that they call heaven. And if you don't believe, then you automatically go into the other fake place that they have terrorized people by, called hell, which don't exist. Okay, but they try to use this same symbol. It's called the symbol of infinitude, right? Which means infinite means forever. And this guy is one of my analysts that I deal with, where he gives me all my crypto, basically all my Bitcoin, Ethereum coin, Cardano, Solana, and as you see, I have my shirt on. My sister-in-law calls me the stock father, right? What did she call me? The stock father. So it's a play off of the Godfather. She calls me the stock father because I'm very into investing and all the investing apparatuses, both crypto and in stocks, and as well as all of the other tools that you use in order to take a little bit of money and grow it into some serious money. Okay, so this is one of my analysts who he compiles a bunch of data, and charts and analysis from a bunch of different people that keep me from having to go to Google and have to look these things up for myself. So I have a cadre of analysts, and this guy, I call him the little leprechaun because he's an Irish guy, and his name is James, and I don't know his last name, but he does a phenomenal job of tracking and bringing me up to speed with the latest things that are coming that are maybe relevant to the growth of both Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana. These are the 4 basic coins, as well as Doge coin. I'm very into that, and I got a couple of other couple of other speculative coins, that cryptocurrencies that I'm flirting around with that don't cost anything, and you can get hundreds of thousands of them for a couple of dollars. So I'm not losing any real money. So I'll go ahead and invest in some things like that, but knowing that I'm not going to really lose any money, and if I do, it's not going to lose more than maybe 50 to 70, maybe $100, and that's nothing in the scheme on the level that I am, where I'm well over $200,000 worth of investments and gains. I'm not on his level. He's a multi-millionaire, but I'm getting there. Okay, but I wanted you to see this symbol and show you that this is what I'm talking about. You're going to see symbols that will be indicators to let you know that that person is in that same camp as like an Eckhart Tolle. And this symbol is actually the symbol that's on my book, except I turn the symbol vertically. I have a circle at the top and a circle on the bottom. So my symbol, the symbol of my book, which I'll show you here, or you see here on the side here on the bottom, that's my book. Except my circles, my infinite circles are vertical. This one that he uses, James, on his thing, is an animated version, but his is horizontal. And so is Eckhart Tolle. He has the same symbol. And I just happened to notice it when I was setting this thing up to show you guys. And it's just amazing. It's fascinating. And that's why I say, once you get on the path of righteousness, family, you're going to be having so much fun, because you leave the world of confusion and horror and fear and terror that the churches and all these religions try to dump on you, and the marketing people try to do, which I call the matrix of lies and of diversion, and call it bait and switch tactics, to keep you from focusing on everything out here in this finite temporary world. And Eckhart is going to talk to you about why you identify with your micro God self. He calls it your essence. And he talks about standing still and bonding with your essential self, which is directly connected to Amma at all times. You are always connected to God because you are God. You are God's representative on this plane, and you were put here by God to do what God has ordered you to do. You don't even have a choice. You have the illusion of choice, and that's okay. But at least you understand the power that you are. We ain't talking about no having. We talking about what you are. You just not aware of it. Okay? I am. And that's why when I speak to you with confidence, and I have no doubt, and I have no fear. Okay? Because I know what I am. Who I am is this body. And in the next book I'm going to talk to you about, that person is going to mistakenly flip around the what, because that person is not on the level that I'm on. Yes, she wrote a book, but she's not on the level that I'm on. And so what I do is when I see kernels of the truth as I comprehend it, I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to show you their version of this same truth. And I'm going to point out to you where I would suggest that she use a different word. There's a couple of things she's going to use words that are off the mark, but it's okay. She's got to learn too. We're all learning. We're reaching for perfection. We're reaching for the awareness of the perfection that we are. Okay? And each one of us is on a different level on the path of righteousness. Okay? And it doesn't matter, because she is perfect for what she is and where she is on her path of righteousness. Okay? You are perfect for what you are and where you are on your path of righteousness, even though you may not be awakened. But the fact that you're watching this video, you're already awake. You're on a path, on a level. The fact that you would even have the ability to pay attention long enough to inculcate, to hear and embrace the wisdom and the knowledge that I'm giving you. All right? Because it's your human right. You should have been taught this when you were 5, 1 year old, from the time you were born to the time you got to your first 7 years of life. Somebody should have began to teach you about what you are, and at least who you are and why you exist and what your purpose is in this life. Because all of your happiness and joy is going to be connected to that. And I want to be very clear. The knowledge and wisdom I'm going to give you about wealth building is not to make you happy. I'm making you happy by telling you what you are and describing and validating for you the power that you are. That's where your happiness lies. Your happiness, you are already given the gift of eternal happiness, because I told you cannot ever die. And that you are God having a human experience. That's where your happiness is. Full stop, game over, that's it. Now, everything else is just about allowing you to enjoy this happiness. Okay? Let's be very clear. I want to be very crystal clear about that. Money can never buy you happiness. Money can just buy you the freedom of stress in your environment so you can enjoy the happiness that you are, that you become, because you understand you can never die. No matter what. And this is proven to you every single night that you go, that your body, that your human form must sleep. You don't sleep because you're an eternal being. Eternal beings don't need sleep. Only finite things that are not eternal, finite things that only last 100 years, even if it's a turtle, so they last 600, 700, 800 years, they are still finite. Because at the end of that 3, 4, 5, 8, whatever 100 years they are, that form is going to fail. You will never, ever fail. You will just simply jump to another form. And you will keep jumping forever. That's your happiness. See, that's your freedom. Okay, so you already got your happiness and your freedom. And I want to be very clear about that. As we go into this video, I don't want you to start getting hung up on this money and all this stuff. And cars and things like that. All of that stuff you do, you have to understand it's temporary. And they're going to talk about this in these books, so I'm going to get at it. I'm not going to let you go through this whole thing with Eckhart, but I want you to see the symbolism of this guy, James, that when he starts his show, I want you to see the symbolism of it And then I'm not going to even let you go through his show. I'm going to stop that and I'm going to take you right to Eckhart. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you saw that symbol. All right, now we're going to go on to the next thing. I don't want to even bog you down with that, but I just want you to see that symbol. And I always, when I first saw it, I said, wow, this guy I'm meant to be here watching this guy because he's one of us. And you can tell it in a lot. Everyone now and again, he goes a little off and goes into some other stuff that
in some other translation.
And he's not quite in the pocket, but one day we'll talk about that. But I want you to see Eckhart Tolle, and he's going to talk to you again. The name of this video is How to Successfully Manifest Your Dreams. He doesn't call it law of attraction, but you can tell he's describing it. It's the law of attraction and the laws of auto-suggestion. It's very clear. Here we go.
He says, I want you to have abundant life. Now, abundant does not mean lots of things, because that would mean that shopping malls are the kingdom of heaven.
Here's the symbol. Okay, there it is again.
Let's say your goal is to be widely known and to impact people's lives with your music. Fine, perhaps you'll achieve it. You can visualize it. Oh, by the way, when you visualize a goal that you want to achieve, it's not.
And again, he's going to talk to you here about when you do your visualizations, and as they talk about in The Secret, you have to see yourself having that thing or that house or that accomplishment or whatever it is you desire in your environment. You have to see yourself having it right now with the emotions. And Neville Goddard talks about bringing the emotions and the feelings and the goosebumps and see yourself talking. So for my vision is to see myself hitting the lottery. So I see myself talking to the lottery people in the front of the microphones now, as if when I'm there, that's how it's going to look. That's how I see it now. When I visualize it, I go there as if it's right now. It's not something I want later. I already have it. I've already accomplished it. When I think about it, it's already been accomplished. Okay? And that is what's going to attract it to you. This is the most important aspect of utilizing the law of attraction and the law of auto-suggestion. You have to see yourself as already having it. It's over with. It's done already. And you're now reminiscing on how good it feels to have gotten it already. See, that's what Baba Philippe Matthews calls bending time. See, but that's the actual act of bending time. So instead of you thinking about one day you may get it, no, you don't think like that, because your thoughts create actions, and I'm gonna validate that for you again when we see the other authors that I'm going to introduce you to. But I want to bring that point out to you that Rhonda Burns has talked about this 10 years ago. Charles Hennell has talked about this 60 years ago. So I'm telling you that. So now that validates for you. These are totally different people who are saying the same thing. And everybody that's saying this to you is a multi-millionaire. This is somebody who have already dominated wealth building. Eckhart Tolle, this man is a multi-millionaire, folks. People pay $300 and $400 to go see him in the stadium, where you're getting to see it here on YouTube for free. But that's what people who have money, that's what they do. And I want you to understand the value of what you're getting here. You have got to, and I'm very passionate and I'm very animated and I'm very enthusiastic about things. And this is my persona. I'm never going to be any different. I'm not a calm, cool-headed guy like Eckhart Tolle. That's not who I am. And I'm not trying to be somebody else. I'm about trying to be Oduwole. I'm trying to be Uncle Russell, as I am to all my kids and whatnot. I am trying to be Uncle Russell. I am trying to be granddad to my grandson, dad to my son. That's who I'm trying to, and this is who I have always been. And I'm not trying to change it because there's nothing wrong with me. I'm already perfect. I'm exactly what the universe wanted me to be. See there, folks? You see, chest out, head up, shoulders back. I am who I am, and I'm proud of what and who I am. Okay, so I'm already in heaven. Every nanite of the seconds that pass, and all of the ones in the past that have passed, when I woke up and realized, oh wow, I'm God having a human experience. Okay, and I don't need nobody else to validate that for me. At this point, for me, you may have to do that, and that doesn't make you any. There is no competition here. We're not competing. We're not in competition because we're all the same spirit. You can't compete against yourself. That's like kind of stupid, you know. So again, this is just the identity that you have to remember what you are. And from what you are, you can get more comfortable with who, which is the body that you were born into. That's who you are for this life cycle, okay? But Eckhart Tolle is going to teach you to use the powers that you brought with you when you animated this human form at conception, when you incarnated into this human form. You brought power with you. The powers to create with the mere thought of repeated thoughts in your mind and visions and feelings and emotions. And it's working 24/7, whether you are aware of it or not. Because the subconscious machine that Alma has put in a position to do the creating is called dark matter and dark energy, and it does nothing but create, and it has no feelings and it has no emotions. So you can take all of that crap that this Bible and all these people have been teaching you, these lies and all that BS, you can forget that, and you can't do nothing to the subconscious machine because it's an eternal being. You can't, and God don't need you to pray to it. Stop that nonsense. Why would an almighty, eternal, infinite being need anything from you? The idea is an insult. Just the idea is an insult. You can't insult God. So you ain't even insulting God. You're insulting your own intelligence. Anybody that would tell you something stupid like that, they're telling you indirectly they think you're stupid. Or a matter of fact, they're not saying they think, they know you don't know. And they're assuming that they are leading your behind around like a puppet. And they got you doing whatever they want you to do. And that's okay, because you have to start somewhere. And when you get fed up and tired of these people playing you like a Stradivarius, you are going to look for solutions, and you're going to stumble onto this movie. And you are going to do that because you are the smart one. You are the intelligent one. I'm not doing it for you. And Jesus certainly ain't going to do it. There's no such thing. Don't exist. That was some dude that existed a long time ago. And he was nothing but a guy like me telling people back then that you are God having a human experience. And the moment he said that, they killed his ass. Because back then, the Catholic Church had him murdered. And I don't know, and I'll take that back. I don't even know if it's the Catholic Church that did it. But at the time, one of the stupid religions that people happened to be following at that time actually thought that they could stop this message by killing the messenger. And that's exactly what they did to him. Her, it, whoever it was at the time, don't matter. Because it was in a temporary form that don't matter. All that matters is right now, and that you wake up and that you start controlling all the thoughts that flowing through this mind space here that you own, that you animated. You're providing the power. You're turning the lights on into this man space right here, this mind space right here. That's you. That's yours. And nobody has the right to trick you, con you, slick you, market you into believing some BS that they want you to believe. That's not part of your human right. You're supposed to be in charge and total control of every damn thing. And that's how you're going to take control of everything that comes into your life. You get up tomorrow morning and you sit there and you sit back, and I want you to bathe in this awareness of what you are. Okay? Let's go on to Eckhart.
Not in the future. If you, this is to do with manifesting. When you want to manifest something, it doesn't work very well when you think, I will be famous, I need to be famous, I want to be famous. Not good for manifestation. If you want to manifest something, you have to start with the foundation for manifestation is always the present moment. It's not the future. It works very simply. Jesus explained it in one sentence, just one sentence. Whenever you pray for something, believe that you have received it and it will be given to you. Now the key is that.
Okay, and that's the same thing. That's the same thing Rhonda Barnes has been telling people, except she didn't couch it in, with the sayings of some religion. She just simply said it as a metaphysical fact based on the power and authority that you were born with. It had nothing to do with any religions. It has to do with the power and the authority that you already have. You have just been tricked into misusing it. And that's why it has been working against you. And that's why you're getting things in your life that you do not want. And once they happen to you, then you start, your reaction to it is to do one to three things that automatically happens when you have no knowledge and no wisdom of what you are. In the book that I'm going to next bring to you, they're going to say who you are. They're wrong. It's not about who you are. It's about what you are. That you are a micro-God. That's what you don't know. And the moment I make you aware of it. Now you're aware that there's a possibility that I may be right. And then once you validate it with a few more situations, you're going to go to sleep at night and you're going to see that your body's out of the game and you're still dreaming. You're still hearing things. You're still seeing things. Well, who the hell is doing all of that? If your body's out of the game, you're certainly not the body. So who's watching this dream? Who's experiencing this dream? That's you, and you don't sleep. The body has to sleep because it needs, even with the energy that you bring to it, it cannot function. It can only function but for so many hours in a day because it's a finite being. You're an infinite being. So that's why you go on and you keep experiencing things while the body gone. You still experiencing them. That's how big and bad you are. Oh, you want to talk about goosebumps and feeling power? That should be going right up your spine. The power and the realization of how powerful you are. You don't even need sleep. Okay, let's go on.
He did not say believe that you will receive it, because that puts it into the future. Mm-hmm. He said when you pray for something, in other words, when you want something,
you see it.
Believe that you have received it. Now, what does that mean? You have to feel in this moment the fullness of life that is there when you go deep enough into the being of you.
And see, what is he trying to tell you? In other words, when you see yourself, in order to attract this to you, you visualize yourself being there. But do it now. When you're doing your meditations, I see myself at the microphone. I feel the paper, the cardboard of the thing that I'm holding, thanking. I'm actually thinking about it as a memory now, because it's already happened. See, you got to inculcate all of these tactics and all these tricks and all of these visualizations of power. And you keep doing it over and over and over again. And he's not going to tell you about that part. That's where I come in. See, I'm very good at honing in on the most important aspect of a teaching, and that is repeating, because we are micro gods connected to a macro being through the subconscious machine. So therefore, the subconscious machine requires the physical being and the spiritual being to repeat things so that it knows you're serious. See, you have to repeatedly fill in the details, the emotions, the feelings, repeatedly over and over and over again until it manifests in your world. Let's go on.
Then you feel there's the fullness of life, and you feel there is a sense of joyful aliveness, that there's a sense of power in you that you sense that is the presence in you.
So you see, now he's reached the limits of what he can deal with when it comes to the law of attraction, because Eckhart Tolle is a master of the power of right now. This talking about law of attraction, this is not his wheelhouse. But he's validating for those of us that this is our wheelhouse. When I want to master and when I want to really focus my energy on staying in the now, in the presence, I go to Eckhart Tolle. That's his wheelhouse. And he has the vocabulary to articulate all of the nuances and the elements and the idiosyncrasies of the power of being present in the now moment. He's the master of that. See? And I'm a master of finding the key kernels of pivotal data that will help you to say, aha, I got it now. I realize. How you going to validate that to yourself? When you practice it and you start seeing change happen in your life. Okay? And that's what I do. But I don't have the whole picture. None of us has the whole picture, because all of us are parts of the macro being. Eckhart is a part, his purpose. He's fulfilling his purpose right now. And he's crossing over into other people's area, and he's linking arms with them by showing you that nobody is wrong, everybody is right about what they are talking about. Eckhart is never wrong. He is just at the edge of what he knows, and he's going to continue to use and articulate the vocabulary, and he knows that keeps him focused and in the arena where he is strongest, which is talking about right now. And when you're dealing with the law of attraction, you have everything you see for yourself, you have to see it in Eckhart's wheelhouse right now, as if you already have it.
There is a power in that presence, and that power is something that you could almost, there's a fullness in it already. You can't really, once you contact, when you're in touch with the presence, everything else that you could achieve in this life, I have this comparison, analogy, or whatever it is, that which you realize within you, the power, is the cream. And everything else that you could achieve in this world is the skimmed milk. So the fullness of life, this is an expression that Jesus used. He said, and these are all together, he said, I want you to have the fullness of life.
See what I mean? See what I mean, family? And so I'm going to cut this off now, because he's going off into, segue into his thing, because he's already given you what you needed to hear. He said, in order, when you want to manifest anything in your environment, you have to see it as if it were now. So I'm not going to bog you down with any more of this. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this. All right. And I'm going to go bring you into this other piece that I wanted to talk with you about, which is has to do with go back and show you these 3 books. Okay, these 3 books I wanted to show you because the book I'm going to show you now is talking about dark energy, and this is more cosmologically cosmological anatomy, which is showing you the physical manifestation that represents the metaphysical spiritual manifestation of Ama, the totality that is viewable by us as through our physical form vehicles. We can look up into the outer space and with a telescope, and we can look at the vastness of what I call the body politic of Ama, the universal spirit, goddess, the Europeans call it. Okay, and this is just explaining to you a physical expression or a physical form of the metaphysical energies that are right here in front of you. And what I like about this particular book here talks about that structure that is the universe that is out, that you can visually see. If you get a telescope and you look up into the sky, past all of the reflections of the sun hitting our earth and blocking your vision. But if at night is the best time to do it, and you'll see all the stars, and you'll see what you're looking at is the endoplasmic reticulum, the body politic of the universal spirit itself that we are physically within. Our human form is placed in this particular location, a perspective within the body politic of the universal spirit, which to us appears to have no end in sight, because we are such nanites in terms of size, that they say, as above, so below. So in other words, when we look out into the outer space, we're looking at the body politic of the universal being. In other words, this is the form that the universal being has placed us within. Okay, and it too is a part of the universal being, just like this form is a part of the universal being, just like we, the microcosmic spiritual being, is a part of the universal being. Okay, but this is the form world. The stars and everything you see is the form world. All of the celestial features of the universe that we physically can see is all a part of the form world, and it is all temporary. I don't care how big it is. The rule is everything that is form is temporary, and that's why it comes and it goes. It can be disintegrated to parts that are so small you can no longer physically see it anymore. That's why they are temporary. At least the way they are comprised, the way they are composed, is a temporary composition so that you can see it. And on the time-space continuum that we live on, it may appear to be infinite. It may take millions of years for it to burn out the vision or the composition that you're looking at. But I don't want to get too into that. I just want you to be aware of that. And that's what this book is talking about. But I only want you to be aware of this book and what they're talking about is because they're talking about, they talk beautifully about this particular thing that I want you to become aware of, which is, hold on a minute, I want to get to, okay, this, right. So now with this, I can advance you forward because I want you to see what she says here. Okay, the name of the sister is, I didn't say it, but Ashira Star Goddess, that's her name. She wrote this book called How to Manifest with Dark Energy, okay? And what I like about it here is she talks about what, there's another scientist who mentioned in here, they said that everything we see in the world ourselves, the other people, trees, mountains, water, houses, computers, laptops, cell phones, etc., only makes up 4%. And when she says 4%, she's talking about including the outer space. And all the stars and all the planets and all that stuff you see only makes up 4% of the mass of all that exists. And maybe she may mean just this world. And I don't know how she could say, because we cannot be 4% of all that exists in the universe unless she just means only on this planet. And I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. She probably means everything on this planet. In other words, the computers, the trees, the we only make up 4%. In other words, the ground and the earth and the tectonic plates and the core of the planet, which to me, folks, I'm sorry, that's a whole lot of stuff. And I can't imagine that we make up only 4%, because look what the next line says. Etc. Only makes up 4% of the total mass of all that exists. I don't believe that. 4%, I can't. Sorry, folks. We can't, just mathematically impossible. She's just spouting off stuff, but that's okay. She gets us into the ballpark of thinking about parameters, boundaries and whatnot. And no matter how off they are, it doesn't matter. It's her intent, what she's trying to get you to comprehend, okay? And because while the other unseen 96% that she talks about says here of the universe consists of dark energy and dark matter. That's the most important thing. So the dots I want to connect for you here with this part is when you're doing your meditations and your visualizations of seeing yourself already having the things that you want in your life and the people you want to see disappear out of your life, you already see yourself in a different situation, and what you're using and what you're impacting with your visions, you're impacting dark energy. And here she says, look, Richard Pennick, this is not her. Richard Pennick, author of The 4% Universe, suggests that he's author of The 4% Universe. And he suggests that the mysterious substance known as dark matter makes up 23% of the universe. Okay? While the even more mysterious dark energy makes up approximately 73% of the universe. And so, folks, there you have it. That's the best they can do to articulate what the Dogons have known for over 300,000-400,000 years. When the planets and everything was much closer, they figured all of this stuff out. Everything that these scientists and all these people are telling y'all, our African ancestors figured all this stuff out hundreds of thousands of years ago while they were being mutated in the caves of the Caucasus Mountains. When they came out of the caves 20,000 years ago, all of this stuff was already done, folks. They just destroyed all of the records as much as they could and jumped up in front, and now they're trying to pretend that they are the authors of all of this stuff, and it's a damn lie. And I just want to, it's not about being better than nobody else. I just want to correct the record. Because these will be the same, not this person in particular. It's not personal. I'm just saying the overall system of white supremacy that is the lie that created their Bible. These Eurasians These mutated Africans who crawled out of the caves of the Caucasus Mountains after they got mutated and caught in the last glacial ice age, when they came out, they realized they were 100,300 years behind. And they had nothing but the ability, as their human form had mutated and transformed into vampires, werewolves, and ghouls. That was the sum total of their abilities. They were crawling around on all fours. They were coated from head to toe with hair, lice, ticks. Now that's just, folks, that's just the archaeological, you look at, read the book, Iceman Inheritance. The archaeological, anthropological evidence that they found in the caves of the Caucasus Mountain shows the teeth marks of the bones that were eaten by other people, and the bones were other human beings, because there was no other animal that could survive down in the Caucasus Mountain, deep down in the caves. All there were humans, and so humans ate humans. They were cannibals, blood-drinking vampires, werewolf, flesh-eating werewolves full of hair. So when you see these movies about vampires and werewolves, and I'm not trying to put nobody down, I'm just setting the record straight, because these are the same vampires and descendants of vampires and werewolves will come out and try to tell you that Africans have never created and done anything. We're backwards and we're illiterate because we don't speak English, and that we are all Africans. They don't even imply that there are some. They come right out and they say all Africans. The Africans have never created anything. And it's a goddamn lie. Just like 90% of their Bible is a goddamn lie. And the sooner you throw that crap in the garbage and get you some spiritual awareness and pick up some books like Kaba Kameni's book that tells you about the difference between religions and spirituality, and finally learn a nanite of truth. And once you do, it'll set you free like I am. You ain't scared of nobody, and you ain't scared of nothing, because your mind is packed with so much wisdom. And wisdom is validated knowledge. And once you have validated knowledge, you know what to believe and what not to believe. And when you see the filthy lies and the intentional deception and the intentional robbing of other human forms and trapping their spiritual beings in these vehicles by intentionally lying and leaving out and blocking and distracting them from ever learning enough truth to free them from being trapped in their own bodies. And that's the crime of what these Eurasians are doing, not have done, are still doing. And they are represented by the people in America in a movement and a party called the MAGA Confederate from the Civil War. These are the same people. The MAGA Confederate Cult Republican Party. They are an amalgamation of the bottom feeders that the Europeans kicked out and sent to America. And sick them, they didn't do it on purpose, but they wound up sicking their filthy, germ-riddled vampires, lazy, incorrigible, no good, couldn't get them bastards to learn nothing. That's why they got them the hell out of Europe, and Europe went up. And if you think I'm lying, read the book White Trash that was written by a white woman. And I'll put that book up here so you can see it. And I'm saying all this to say, I'm animated and I'm passionate because they lie on my form and my ancestry of my human form, which is the greatest human form on this planet, because we are the oldest human form on this planet. These mutates, they're no longer the original. They have mutated, transformed into these mutates, which may be a good thing. And I'm give credit when they, and even after they have been mutated, they have evolved and been educated by the Africans that were already out here. We took them on and we taught them everything that they know right now. And we taught them to stop eating each other and stop drinking blood and bathe. Now that you're out in the sun, and you're out of the ice cold water, you can bathe now. Okay? And we know you don't have nothing, but we're going to teach you how to speak English and speak languages and treat yourselves like another human instead of like something to eat, an object, a thing that you can beat up and kill and murder and eat just because you can, because you're functioning purely out of your instinctive intelligence. They had lost all of the intuitive intelligence that existed. They had lost it all. And again, they were originally Africans when they went in. And now they came out 20,000 years ago, and then they realized they had nothing, and the Africans had everything, and had circumnavigated the entire earth to the point where these fools still thought the earth was flat. And we had to tell them, no, it's not flat. You're just dumb and you don't know any better. That's why you still think that. And when they finally realized they were wrong about that too, they said, oh shit, we got to hurry up and get rid of these. We got to we got to create a system where we can assassinate the characters of our forefathers, because they are going to make us look horrible, which the Africans probably never would have done much of. But if you were horrible people, then the world needs to know you were horrible people, because that's how you begin to grow. You admit what you did that was wrong, and you repair the damage through reparations for what you've done that was wrong. And then you can move on. But before that, the guilt is going to eat you alive, because you are a spiritual being having a human experience. See, and spirit is guided by rules. It's called reciprocity. What you put out is what you're going to get back through the law of attraction and through ma'at, which is the law that will always seek to balance everything out and make right that which was wrong. You can't get away from this stuff. These are immutable laws that are guided by spirit, and you cannot get away from them. I call it the law enforcement agency, called ma'at, and it's called reciprocity. What you do to others, you're going to get it back in spades. So stop the doo-doo, stop lying. And this Ron DeSantis here in Florida, and that filthy thing, Donald Trump, and his MAGA mentally ill, insane deplorables, they are all going to fail. And I can guarantee you that is going to happen. And on top of that, they're going to disappear. Because as long as they're out in this sun, they are a recessive mutation of the original people. Nothing recessive can live for any period of time. I don't care what they do. They're going to disappear because they're on the surface of the earth. Now, if they want to stay mutated, full of disease, cancer, leukemia, sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's, and all this other stuff, and Alzheimer's and all this other stuff, let them keep mating with each other. And I guarantee you, the diseases are only going to get worse, and they're going to mutate into new kinds of diseases. They're going to take them out even faster. I don't wish it on them. That's just the reality of how this works. That's nature. On this planet here, the universal spirit set that up, and that's why they don't like God. That's why they hate God. They hate nature. They won't admit it, but they do. They're angry at God, like a child. You know, but you see, here's the thing, folks. We are infinite beings having a human experience. None of this crap matters. And it's all going to come to an end. Because I don't identify with my form. I identify with my spiritual being. And I function out of that. That's why I have no fear. Can't kill me. You can kill my body. So what? It's temporary anyway. I'm coming back. And I'm going to be even more intelligent and even more smarter and more enthusiastic when I come back. Because I'm deciding how I'm going to come back. And you can do the same thing too. You just don't know it yet. And so therefore you live in fear and doubt and anxiety because you don't know. And the moment you learn the truth, it's going to set you free. And you ain't going to care about it. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm going to still put my foot up Donald Trump and those MAGA, my foot up their ass. You know why? Because that's what I do. That's what that's my purpose, is to enlighten and awaken the dead, the spiritual dead, and put my foot up these evil bastards' ass. And I will do it verbally through educating people. And if they ever come and confront me, I will physically take them apart. And I want as many of you as possible to do the same thing and put them suckers back under the rock that they crawled out from under, out there in the caves of the Caucasus Mountains. And that is the only thing they understand. And the sooner the rest of us figure this out, the better off the world is going to be. And the sooner the rest of us can start moving. That's what the Europeans did. They kicked them right out of Europe. And look, Europe had a renaissance. They excelled in science, all the sciences, all the music, opera, or musical instrument playing. They became experts at all of these things because they got rid of the filth. And they sent it all the way over here to America. Read the book, White Trash. Woman does a brilliant job of explaining the whole thing. Okay? But anyway, let's move on. So this 73% of dark energy is the key thing. That's the most important thing I want you to understand. This 73% of dark energy. That's us. Okay? Dark matter is the stars and all the stuff. Like they have something in the movie, and I've said this before, and it's very true. Matter can be manipulated, but it can neither be destroyed or created, because the 23% that is just dark matter that's not visible to you, that's all there is. But look what we created look at the 4% that we have created in the universe and on this earth. Look what we created with just 4%. So man, we got 23% more that we can do some creating with. That's the point I want you to understand. The energy, the 73% of dark energy, and again, these are just numbers that we are throwing out there, folks, so you can have some point of reference. You have no way of validating that there's 73% out there. That's just a number they told you. How you gonna prove it? The 23% that they're telling you right here, how you gonna prove that? How? You ain't got that kind of time in your day, and that's not your purpose, and you're not gonna bother with it. I'm just telling you this so you have point of reference. Okay, so you can juxtapose what you see, the 4%, and as little as that number is, and look at the magnitude of all the stuff that has been created. So that lets you know how much you got to work with the 23%. And the 73% of just pure energy that is you. That's the point. Okay? I'm not even going to get into the rest of this. Let's go on to the next thing. But I'm going to go back and show you the books. And here's the next book we're going to talk about. I already did a little bit with the Master Key System. We're going to touch on that we're going to end up with the Master Key System. That's why I'm doing it in this order. That book, How to Manifest with Dark Energy, okay, is the same manifesting that Eckhart Tolle is talking about, is the same manifesting that Rhonda Burns talks about in her book, the same manifesting that Charles Haanel talks about in his book. And this book that Anthony R. McAllister, what he's talking about Charles Haanel's book and how to apply Charles Haanel's teachings in your life. See right here, a book by Charles F. Haanel. Okay, that's what he's talking about. This book right here is the next book I'm going to get into. It's called One Truth, One Law. I Am, I Create. So again, look at that. I am a multimillionaire. I am successful. I am. So these are the power words of a micro God that knows it is creating by thought, by choice, or creating with using thought by choice, by choosing what thoughts, visions, emotions, and feelings you are going to project into your mind space to block out anything else that you don't want. The moment things start coming into your mind space that you don't want, start projecting your own thoughts. Say, hey, guy, back to I'm a multimillionaire. Go into the feelings. See yourself as successful. See the family member that's in trouble. See them. They're healed. They're already healed. They're walking out of the hospital already. See it and then be it. And it will come into being because that's what you are, a powerful being. You just have to come to learn it for yourself. So let's go on and let's look at what that book talks about. I'm gonna skip past a lot of this teachings of they go into here, and she talks about in the next slide here. I gotta move some stuff because I can't even see this thing. This thing is in the way. Put that over here. Okay, and she says here, but by the power ye may be free, which is the wisdom and the knowledge and the truth of what you are. This is the secret whereby bondage shall be replaced by freedom for thee. Calm, let thy mind be. In other words, that's the state of Eckhart saying you have to bond with your oneness and your essence by standing, and I say stand still. She uses the term calm, let thy mind be. I say stand still. Eckhart Tolle say you identify. That's being calm and identify with your oneness or your essence. Okay? At rest be thy body. So in other words, disconnect from the human form. At rest be thy body. So your body is calm. And center thy being on the goal of thy longing. Okay? Think over and over. There it is. Repeat over and over that thou wouldst be free. In other words, think over and over that not would be, that you are free. You see? It's the language. And that's what I'm correcting here. And I'm just showing you how even as they're saying, they're still making little small minor mistakes, and it's okay, but we're going to correct that. It's not that you would be free, that you are already free. In other words, see yourself as already being free. Drift with the sound to the place of thy longing. Free from the bondage of flesh. So that means go purely in your mind, in your visualizations. Okay? Free from the bondage of flesh by thy will. In other words, do it on purpose. And repeatedly, as your thoughts, if your thoughts start to drift off into other chains and come on back. No, I see myself and I'm basking in the joy and the happiness of being a multimillionaire. Seeing my family with me, everybody's satisfied and healthy, and now relieved and celebrating that we now have a new beginning. So you have to see this detail, and you got to bring in the details. And they go on to say, you're not separate from the darkness. In other words, so now you got to beat back all of the terror tactics of their Bible and their religion, and their culture and their lifestyle, which backhandedly tries to teach you that everything black is bad until they get all the money that they make, and then what they say about themselves, they're in the black. See, they live with the blackness, but they want to convince the rest of y'all, no, y'all stay away from that stuff. That's for us. Y'all, In other words, so what I'm telling you is don't let nobody calibrate. Don't let nobody define your goddamn world for you. You define it. That's what being self-actualized is all about. You define every goddamn thing for yourself. Trust your own judgment that you practice using until you get to be a master like I am. You don't let nobody tell you what to think. Stop that. You define everything in your world for yourself, because you know what? When something goes wrong, you're going to pay. They're not going to pay. And they're not going to come jump in front of Trump. You think Trump will jump in front and go to jail for anybody that he's sicking? He's telling these stupid people to do all this stupid shit. Trump is not going to jump in front of, he ain't going to do nothing for nobody. That's how they are. That's what makes them demons. You do not let nobody trick you and con you into doing something that works against you. And my job is, because the reason why I use so much passion and so much enthusiasm, because I want to snap you into a sense of awakening to what the hell you have been allowing them to trick you into. And you didn't know no better, but I'm trying to help you. Don't let them teach you that darkness is bad when everything that comes in existence comes from darkness. Look up into outer space and tell me what you see. Close your eyes and tell me what you see surrounding every aspect of your visions. Nothing but darkness. So don't let them convince you and trick you into believing that darkness is bad. That's another way that they try to trick you and rob you of your power. And this lady here is telling you, this is a part of you. You are not separate from this darkness. This is what you are. It is a part of you. Dark energy is a part of your consciousness. They dropped the word on there. Okay? Step outside the 3D world that you see here. Go into the ether. Go in. You can't get right, as Lauryn Hill says, you can't win until you get right within. But this is where it's at. Okay? Go into the ether. Create what you want and pull it back to yourself by seeing yourself already having it. Okay? And look here, introducing the introduction by I am. Okay? My name is I am, but you've probably spent your whole life referring to me as God. My name doesn't matter. Now, this actually that you're looking at is not from this book. It's actually, no, I'm sorry. It is from this book. This is the next book I wanted you to see. I got the covers a little confused. But in this book, this is the book by Erin Werley, okay, that I was telling you about. And this woman had an experience in her life. She was very poor, and she had gone through an experience, and one day she woke up, and she actually bonded with her essence and started to talk about the experiences that she had. And in this book, she's going to validate again what I have been saying in the last 30, 40 movies, the last 60 to 80 movies that I'm working on. I'm working on the next, I think right now I'm up to 70 movies. This will probably be number 75, if not more than that. I'm not particularly sure right now. But this lady, and she happens, I don't know if she's happens to be African or European, I'm not sure. But she tries to speak to you from the perspective of, oh wait, hold on a minute. Oh, I gotta stop something. Well, no, I think we're okay, because I didn't bring sound into this. But I have to keep a little sound on because my stupid amplifier will cut off the whole thing. I won't be able to see what I'm doing here. So she's trying to speak to you from the perspective of God itself, of Amma itself. And so she's taking some poetic license in her writing and writing it this way. She's saying that she is Amma. She said, I am everything, which means omnipresent or omniscient. I know everything. I am everything, which means omnipresent. I am all that exists, more omnipresence. The non-physical world is a collection of thoughts. The physical world that you live in is simply a projection of each of those thoughts. So in other words, like Rhonda Byrne said in her book, and I believe the guy's name that said this, one of her analysts that she referred to it in her bibliography, said that everything that we see before us is nothing but manifested thought. I think his name was Bob Collier. I think he said that, Robert Collier. And this lady is saying the same thing. The physical world that you live in is simply a projection of each of those thoughts. In other words, the non-physical world, the non-physical world is a collection of thoughts. Okay, so we're not talking about the manifest world. She said the non-physical. She's speaking from the perspective of God itself, or Amma. All right. So she's saying, Amma is saying that the spiritual world that you see before you, that you are experiencing and you're functioning through, is nothing but a collection of thoughts. But who thought it? It thought it. Amma thought it. But when Amma thought it, all of those thoughts exploded out of one effort. Because as they said, Amma had a thought. And that thought triggered a chain of other thoughts. And those chain of other thoughts triggered eventually, over billions and trillions of years, the physical manifestation that ended up being this earth, this planet, with us, these human forms that eventually evolved over millions of years out of the cytoplasmic goo of the planet that came out of the oceans when the planet finally cooled over billions and millions of years of planets and everything slamming into each other in a physical matter world. And all of this happened before this period of time right now. Okay, but we are it. We are the result of it, and it is us. So this is the unifying spiritual harmony that you learn when you become a spiritual, actualized being. You realize that we are all connected, and that the love that the universe gives us is the air that this physical form breathes, the physical form that we were given. That's love. the intuitive intelligence that allows you to have the sanity and the power to control the sanity of the instinctive intelligence that operates this physical form. The awareness and the knowledge of that it's been given to you as a human right is love, is the universe's love, is our love for ourselves. So everything we have is given out of love and out of an organic drive to exist. And it is an unbreakable, immutable love and drive that's called evolution. And it will never end. It will never end. Just like we will never stop being, because the universe says that I am everything, I am all that exists. Look at what it says here. My name doesn't matter. What matters is who I am and who you are. You are me. I am you. We are the Trinity. There is it, there is you, and then there is the physical form world. That's the three. Okay? It goes on to say, you are a projection of an almost infinite number of thoughts. Each time you have a new thought, it begins in the non-physical world, metaphysical, mind, in other words, and is projected into the physical through the subconscious machine. You have a vision, you have a thought. The subconscious machine picks it up and it does its job to begin manipulating matter and to bring it around and into your environment. And you're doing this 24/7, whether you're aware of it or not. What you call your consciousness exists in the non-physical and is projected. In other words, we are aware of the now, right now, through our intuitive intelligence. Okay? And that was created, in other words, and being manipulated by and being managed by the intuitive intelligence. Okay? And between the intuitive intelligence and the consciousness and your awareness that you have the illusion of separation from the macro being, the intuitive intelligence is managing and maintaining the sanity and the health through the health of the brain and the health of the endocrine system and the health of your mental state that is guided by the fluids and chemicals that are maintained in balance by the instinctive intelligence that is running this body on autopilot. And it's maintaining your chemical homeostasis in this physical form that is allowing you to experience this physical plane with a sane mind. And education is supposed to help make that grow better, smarter, more harmonious, more loving, more compassionate, more harmonious is the key word, where you learn to live together in peace and you work together to make the world better for everybody. See, that's what spirituality and self-awareness and self-actualization brings to the game that the religions don't want, because they want to maintain their control over the herd of the physical forms. And that's what my job is, to break all of that up. Let's see what else they got to say here. I'll move this out the way here. Okay, and this will probably be the last time. I'm not gonna do too much of this. Okay, it says what you call your consciousness exists in a non-physical, and it exists in the non-physical or metaphysical, and is projected all the thoughts of billions of people into the physical world. I am each of you. Okay? Your thoughts are mine. There is no separation. And I already said that. So I'm just showing you here that this person is validating what I've been telling you 30, 60 movies ago. Okay? You are God having a human experience. That's what I say. We are micro gods having a human experience. That's what her intuitive intelligence and the God within her is speaking to her intuitive intelligence and telling her this, okay? And you think you are someone else because I, and therefore you, have unlimited creative power. So we created the illusion that we are separate, which is what we need in order to be creative, in order to have this experience, in order to be able to feel and to experience emotions. And even fear is an emotion that we would not be able to experience if we did not have this illusion of being separate and having, there is a space in our growth process that we have to cross over to be awakened through that emptiness and that not knowingness. That's the only way I can explain it. And it says, you think you are someone else because I, and therefore you, have unlimited creative powers, and you have the ability to create a persona and believe it's real, that you are an individual. See, and I talked about this in one of my other movies. It says, and that you have the ability to create a persona and believe it's real. That persona is the illusion that you are a separate person. And you created this. In other words, we created this for a purpose, so that we can feel like a micro God, all codified in an individual. And the word individual actually means a person that is not separate, not divided. Not divided from what? Not divided from the totality. So you can't even call yourself a separate being. The vocabulary won't even allow it. The spiritual being won't even allow you to even go that far. See, the laws and the rules will stop you from going but so far, because it maintains order. See? And that's why it says you created a persona and believe it's real, and that you are an individual, which means a not divided person. But the word individual, it kind of, okay. Well, you know, it's just, okay. And it's an illusion. Like I said, it's an illusion of separation that has a purpose. So there's nothing bad about it. And some things just is the way it is, okay? It's not the truth. That's what he just said, which I just told you. Of course, you're not. You are not divided. You are not divided. But the illusion that you are is not true, and that's what they're saying. But for the sake of this existence, we're allowing it, okay? We are allowing it. That's why he said, but it is not true. It's not the truth, okay? But since you created it, it exists in the physical world. Ta-da, right? And I'm not going to overanalyze that. Some things you just have to accept, okay? And the education system, folks, this passage alone, just this few paragraphs of mind-boggling, skull-splitting, metaphysical, spiritual truths about what we are. I could spend an entire book just talking on that, but that's not my purpose for this video or series. But I just want you to understand the magnitude of who I am and what I'm working with. I want y'all to understand this, okay? I really want you to understand this. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to end this movie here, okay? Because I want you to understand, family, this is very serious business, and we are incredibly powerful beings. And we don't have to allow, and I want to end with this lesson. The moment you admit to yourself that you have been allowing people to trick you and religions to trick you into giving up the control over your life to somebody else outside of you, the moment you admit to yourself that you are allowing and have allowed it to happen, the word allow is an implication of your very power that you wield and you hold. Because in order for you to be able to allow something implies that you don't have to. And that's a power statement right there. But you were not taught to think critically enough to even see the power in the very concept that once you accept it, you are actually empowering yourself because you're realizing you no longer have to allow it. That's power. That's what knowledge brings to you. And when you take knowledge and you analyze it and critically think about it, you will be able to draw from that awareness and that knowledge the wisdom that will be revealed to you that tells you that you are a micro God having a human experience by choice. Okay, family, one love, and I'll see you in the next movie. And we're going to pick it up and we're going to go back into Charles Hannell's book, and we're going to start building on our awareness on how to use the power of belief and this law of attraction to dominate and take control over our entire lives and free ourselves from the trappings of the religions and the politics and the filthy lies of the filthy people that are desperately trying to take over our freedoms and our lives because they know they are disappearing from existence. Okay? And I'll see you in the next movie. One love.